The pills were almost the same color. That's what she'd keep telling herself in the days that followed. Light blue. Small. Round. Neatly stacked in identical plastic cups. 2 letters off in the name, 3 digits off in the code. Same drawer, wrong bin. Monica James blinked hard under the flickering fluorescent light. The sound of beeping monitors pulsed through her ears like a second heartbeat. It was nearly 10:40 p.m. and the end of her second consecutive double shift. 17 hours on her feet. No lunch break. 1 granola bar. 2 cups of black coffee. She wasn't supposed to be here anymore. But Grace had called in sick, and with 3 patients in the cardiac wing on critical watch, Monica had said yes. Like she always did. Because people like her didn't get to say no. Room 318. Mr. Walter Harrison. She knocked softly before pushing the door open. The old man was sitting upright in bed, eyes fixed on the blank TV screen. His military cap lay on the bedside table next to a framed photo of a much younger man in uniform. His own reflection maybe years ago. "Evening, Mr. Harrison," she said gently. "Time for your meds." He didn't look at her. "You late?" "I know. I'm sorry about that." She checked his chart again, lisinopril, low dosage. Mild hypertension, nothing new. Heart stable since the last scan. She reached for the tray where she'd placed the labeled cups. Picked up the one that said 318. Brought it over. Helped him sip water through the straw. He grunted as he swallowed. "Want me to turn the TV on?" she offered. "Don't need it. Nothing worth watching." She gave a small nod and left the room quietly. Only 3 patients left on her list. 40 minutes, maybe less. Then home. A microwaved dinner. A shower. 2 hours of sleep before the morning shift. But 15 minutes later, room 318's monitor began to scream. The code alarm echoed through the floor. Monica dropped the file in her hand and sprinted back. By the time she reached the room, another nurse had already hit the code button. Mr. Harrison's body was jerking, chest rising erratically. The EKG was spiking. "VFib," someone yelled. "Call Dr. Branson." Monica froze at first, then moved into action. Oxygen, pads for push, everything they drilled 100 times in school. But her hands were shaking, and her mind was already going through the tray. What had she given him? She checked the bin. Checked the backup list. The code was 742B. It was supposed to be 712D. Her breath caught in her throat. Wrong medication. Not lisinopril. Not for hypertension. She'd given him metoprolol XL extended release. Double his heart condition dosage. Jesus Christ. Her stomach twisted. When the doctor rushed in, Monica stepped back, eyes wide. "We're losing him, get the paddles ready." Voices blurred. Light seemed too bright. She couldn't feel her legs. She kept seeing the small blue pill rolling into the cup. By the time Mr. Harrison stabilized, barely, it was 11:32 p.m. And Monica couldn't move. She didn't sleep that night. She sat on the floor of her apartment, back against the wall, arms around her knees. Her phone buzzed twice, first from Marla, the charge nurse, and second from the hospital's HR coordinator. No words. Just, "We need to talk." The next morning, she reported to the administrative floor. Her scrubs felt heavy. Her body ached. Her hands still trembled slightly. In the small office, Dr. Evelyn Monroe was waiting, along with a man in a gray suit she hadn't seen before. "Take a seat, Monica," Dr. Monroe said calmly. She sat down. "This is Mr. Palmer. He's with Risk and Compliance." Monica nodded. Her voice felt stuck somewhere behind her ribs. "There was a critical incident involving Mr. Walter Harrison last night," Mr. Palmer said, expression unreadable. "He's stable now. But there are questions." She swallowed. "I gave him the wrong medication." The words came faster than she expected. Her chest rose sharply as they landed in the air. "I was tired. The trays weren't labeled clearly. It was a mistake." "Button. You understand the severity," Mr. Palmer said. "I do. We're conducting an internal review," Dr. Monroe said, softer. "You'll be placed on temporary administrative leave. This doesn't mean termination, but until we sort out the chain of error." "There's no chain," Monica said. "It was me." Neither of them replied immediately. "The Harrison family has been notified," Dr. Monroe said. "His granddaughter is upset." "Rightfully." Monica stared at the floor. "Did he say anything?" "He's conscious." "Quiet. No formal statement yet." They handed her a manila folder. "Temporary suspension notice. Review process. Legal clause." "I'm sorry," Dr. Monroe said again, this time lower. "You've been an excellent nurse, Monica." But Monica didn't feel excellent. She felt like everything she'd worked for was slipping through her fingers in slow motion. At home, her phone began to buzz again. This time, it wasn't from work. It was a message from her younger sister. Girl, you're on the news. Some guy posted a video from the hospital. It's going viral. Monica clicked the link. A shaky phone recording from the waiting area. People rushing. A caption. White veteran nearly dies after med mix-up by black nurse. SMH. And below it, thousands of comments. She didn't read them all. The few she saw were enough. Affirmative action kills. Sue the hell out of her. If it was the other way around. Her hands trembled. She turned off her phone. And for the first time in her adult life, Monica James cried so hard she couldn't breathe. By Friday morning, the local news had picked it up. Veteran hospitalized after medication error, family demands accountability. The segment was less than 2 minutes long, but Monica watched it 3 times. The image they used of her wasn't even recent, an old staff photo from her nursing school's graduation post dug up from Facebook. She was smiling in it, wearing her white coat and a stethoscope around her neck. They blurred Mr. Harrison's face, but not hers. On the couch, her roommate Denisha muted the screen. They didn't have to show your picture like that, she said. Monica didn't answer. Her jaw was tight, her hands twisted in her lap. She hadn't eaten in more than a day. Her phone was still buzzing with unknown numbers and hidden callers. Even her hospital email, supposedly disabled during her leave, had hundreds of unread messages piling in, some angry, some threatening. Why are people acting like I did this on purpose? She whispered. Denisha gave her a look. Because you're a black woman in scrubs who made a mistake on an old white man with a flag pin in his hat. That's enough. Monica looked at her. But it was a mistake. I know that. It could have happened to anyone. Yeah, Denisha said. But it didn't happen to anyone. It happened to you. And they were already waiting for someone like you to slip. Later that day, someone spray-painted "murderer" on the back wall of the hospital's parking structure. Security cameras caught a glimpse of the person, hoodie, gloves, no clear ID. The hospital issued a statement condemning vigilante commentary, but no one mentioned Monica by name. That was how it worked, plausible deniability. Meanwhile, someone on Reddit had found her LinkedIn. Someone else had posted an edited video intercutting her hospital graduation photo with scenes of ambulances and heart monitors flatlining. The internet didn't care about context. It cared about spectacle. Saturday afternoon, she got a call from Walter Harrison's granddaughter. At first, she thought it was a prank. Is this Monica James? The voice asked, brittle and sharp. Monica hesitated. Yes, this is Abigail Langston. I'm Walter Harrison's granddaughter. Silence. Monica sat up straighter on her bed, unsure what to say. I want to know what happened that night. I gave him the wrong dose. It was a medication error. It wasn't intentional. I've already told the hospital everything, and my grandfather is alive, Abigail cut in. Barely. But alive. You should know that. I do. I'm glad. There was a pause on the line. He says you didn't seem like the kind of nurse who messes up. Monica blinked. I try not to. He's old school, Abigail said. He doesn't trust easily. Especially not with people. Monica felt the unspoken word lingering. He's a veteran, Abigail continued. He's seen things. Been through war. And he's still breathing today because someone responded fast when he coded. That was you. Monica nodded, forgetting she couldn't be seen. Yes. Abigail exhaled. I don't know what to do with this, she said. We're not filing a lawsuit. Yet. But the press won't leave us alone, and the hospital won't say anything real. I'm sorry, Monica said softly. I believe you are. But I need to believe you're more than that. I need to believe that if someone else's life was in your hands tomorrow, you'd still be the right person to save them. I don't know any more, Monica whispered. Abigail didn't answer. Then, neither do I. Click. By Monday, Monica's church called. Pastor Henry had been her father's friend back when her family lived 3 blocks from the old community center. He baptized her when she was 9. He left a voicemail. We're praying for you, child. But maybe give it a little time before you come back to choir. Even there, a step back. Quiet pressure. Kind words with weight behind them. That evening, her mother called from Baton Rouge. I saw your name on the screen, she said. I nearly dropped my bowl of gumbo. Monica rubbed her eyes. I didn't want you to find out like that. You okay, baby? I don't know. You made a mistake. Doctors do it. Pilots do it. You're human. But I'm not allowed to be human. Not me. Her mother didn't argue. Instead, she sighed. You always were the one who wanted to do everything perfect. Since preschool. Remember when you cried for hours because you colored outside the lines? Monica gave a dry laugh. You were 4, her mother said. I told you then, the lines don't matter if you bring something good to the page. Monica felt tears sting the back of her throat. But if the page burns anyway, she whispered, what's the point? 3 days into her leave, she got an email from a woman named Olivia Barrett, senior counsel at a medical justice nonprofit. Subject: what happens when black nurses are blamed? The body of the email was short. Monica, I've read the coverage. If you'd like to talk, I'm here. This is bigger than one error. Call me when you're ready. Monica stared at the message, then clicked reply. Olivia Barrett was not what Monica expected. She was younger, late 30s, maybe? Mixed race with a no-nonsense voice and a rhythm to her speech that made it clear she was used to talking to people who didn't want to listen. They met in a small cafe off Elm Street, 2 blocks from Monica's apartment. Olivia insisted on a public place. It makes it harder for anyone to say we're conspiring, she said as she sat down. Is that something people say? Olivia sipped her tea. You'd be surprised. Monica wasn't sure what she was doing there. Part of her felt like she shouldn't be talking to a lawyer at all. But something in Olivia's email had stuck with her. This is bigger than one error. I'm not suing anyone, Monica said quickly before the conversation even began. I'm not here to convince you to sue, Olivia replied. I'm here because I've represented nurses like you before. Like me. Black. Female. Underpaid. Overworked. Made into scapegoats when the system breaks. Monica folded her hands. You think I'm a scapegoat? I think your hospital runs with half the night staff it needs, uses out-of-date med distribution software, and expects perfection from nurses earning $26 an hour while administrators earn 6 figures to manage from home. I think your mistake was human. But the environment that let it happen wasn't. Monica swallowed. So, what now? You don't have to go public. You don't have to do anything, really. But you could. You could testify. Write a statement. Join a case. Or just talk off-record about what working there was really like. Monica thought of the locked drawers, the shift swaps, the nurse who quit after being blamed for a fall in the psych unit when her break had been cut short twice that night. I thought it was just me, she said. Olivia shook her head. That's what they want you to think. That night, Monica opened her work email for the first time since the incident. Hundreds of unread messages. Some were from coworkers, short, awkward notes of support. Others were system-generated, shift assignments she'd missed, schedule changes, policy updates. But one email stopped her cold. Subject: immediate suspension pending investigation. From Human Resources. She clicked. Ms. James? Effective immediately, your access to hospital systems remains revoked. An internal review has commenced regarding the medication incident involving patient Walter Harrison. You are required to attend a disciplinary hearing on Wednesday, 9 a.m. Conference Room B312. Failure to attend may result in further action. You may bring representation. Monica read it 3 times. Nowhere did the email use the word fired, but it didn't have to. The tone was enough. Wednesday came too fast. She wore her best navy blazer, pressed her slacks, and braided her hair into a low bun. Tanisha offered to come, but she declined. Olivia met her outside the hospital. First rule, Olivia said quietly as they walked to the elevators. Let them talk first. Don't fill silence. Don't try to explain more than they ask. Monica nodded. The hearing room was cold and windowless. A long table. 2 HR reps, 1 administrator she didn't recognize. A union observer with a notepad. Her nurse manager, Elena Vargas, wasn't there. Neither was Dr. Mehta, the attending physician that night. That absence spoke volumes. The first 20 minutes were mechanical, reviewing the chart, verifying credentials, recounting the time of the error. Monica kept her voice even, her hands folded. Then came the questions. Had you slept before the shift? No. Why not? I was scheduled on short notice. I was called in. Were you under the influence of any substances? No. Any personal distractions? No. Finally. Do you consider yourself responsible for the near-fatal outcome? Monica hesitated. I consider myself responsible for the error, she said. But not for the systems that made it easier to happen. One of the HR reps, a balding man with a tie 2 inches too short, leaned forward. Ms. James, with all due respect, are you suggesting the hospital environment played a role? Monica looked at Olivia. She nodded once. Yes, Monica said. I am. They didn't fire her that day. Instead, they extended her suspension. Pending additional review. A hospital euphemism for buying time to see if the media would forget, if the patient's family would sue, if public attention would move on. Olivia didn't seem surprised. They're waiting to see if you're worth protecting, she said bluntly as they exited the building. If you're quiet, they'll ease you out in 6 months. If you speak up, they'll fight back. And if I do nothing? They'll let you rot on leave until no one remembers why they ever hired you. Monica felt a dull ache behind her eyes. Like something inside her was unraveling. I didn't become a nurse to fight lawsuits, she muttered. You didn't, Olivia said. But now you're here. That weekend, Monica attended a support circle organized by Olivia's nonprofit. Mostly women of color. Mostly nurses. One woman, Keisha, had been fired for reporting sexual harassment and told she wasn't a good fit for the team. Another had watched a white nurse give the wrong dose and face no consequences, just a coaching session and a fresh schedule. They shared stories, passed tissues, and laughed in the dark way people do when survival depends on it. Afterward, Keisha handed Monica a card. Speak truth even if your voice shakes. Monica stared at the quote etched in gold. Her voice was shaking already. Maybe it meant she was ready. The message came late Tuesday night. Private number. No caller ID. No preview text. She hesitated, then opened it. You should be careful who you're talking to. Accidents happen. Her fingers froze. She reread it 3 times. No name. No context. Just threat. She showed it to Olivia the next morning. The lawyer's expression didn't shift, but her eyes hardened. Have you told anyone else? Olivia asked. No. Should I? Keep the message. Screenshot it. I'll document it. You think someone from the hospital? I think people don't like being exposed. And sometimes they do stupid things. That same day, her landlord called. Monica, I hate to do this, but I gotta complain. Noise, maybe? Not sure. But a woman from the building committee came by. Said there were concerns about subleasing and unauthorized tenants. There's no one here but me, Monica said flatly. I know. Just if anyone asks, keep it quiet. You know how this neighborhood is. She hung up and sat down on the couch, phone in her lap. It was starting. That slow, invisible pressure meant to make people back off. The kind that didn't leave fingerprints. 3 days later, she got a letter. Not an email. Not a text. An actual, stamped letter in her mailbox. It was from the State Nursing Board. Notice of review, Ms. Monica James. Allegations regarding professional misconduct on the date of redacted. You are hereby informed that your license is under preliminary review. Her heart dropped. This wasn't just about the hospital anymore. This was her whole career. She called Olivia immediately. I'm being investigated by the board, she whispered. I figured it was coming, Olivia said. You figured? They're hoping to scare you. It's what they do. But if they had enough to revoke your license, they'd already have done it. I gave the wrong drug to a patient. He nearly died. How's that not enough? Because the system you worked in enabled it. And we have the data to prove it. What data? Let's meet. Olivia's office was small, 3 rooms and a crowded conference table, but the corkboard behind her desk was covered in printed reports. Medication error logs. Staffing ratios. Email transcripts from other nurses. Patterns, dates, times. Here, she pointed. In the month before your incident, 3 other errors were logged on your floor. 2 were caught in time. 1 was quietly reassigned to another nurse, white, by the way. No disciplinary action. Monica stared. This isn't just your mistake. It's a pattern. You're saying they knew this could happen? I'm saying they let it keep happening because it's cheaper than fixing it. That weekend, a local reporter named Angela Yu reached out. She'd heard about the suspension. Knew someone in the union. Wanted to talk. No camera, she promised. Just background. Off record if you want. Monica agreed to meet at a quiet coffee shop on the east side. Angela was soft-spoken, persistent. Her notebook was full before Monica even finished her first cup of tea. Why now? Angela asked gently. Why speak up? Because I'm not the first, Monica replied. But I want to be the last. Angela looked up. Would you be willing to say that on the record? Monica didn't answer. Not yet. Meanwhile, hospital gossip spread like smoke. Tanisha called one night, whispering into the phone like she was in hiding. Girl, they're trying to say you were reckless. Who? Admin. And some of the nurses. Especially that tight-ass Carla. Monica rubbed her temple. They said I was under the influence. That I falsified the chart? Tanisha cursed. They reaching. You don't drink. You barely drink coffee. They just need a story that makes it not their fault. Well, it's bull. And a lot of people know it. Doesn't feel that way. Doesn't have to feel that way to be that way. The board interview was scheduled. A cold letter. A date. A time. No option to reschedule. Olivia went with her. They sat at a long table in a sterile room with 2 senior nurses, 1 administrator, and a legal rep from the state. They asked the same questions as the hospital had, only with sharper edges. Have you administered medication while fatigued before? Were you aware that that dosage could cause cardiac complications? Do you believe your racial background affected your performance or the review process? That last one hit like a punch. Monica took a breath. I believe it affected how quickly I was blamed, she said. Silence. Then scribbles on a notepad. The interview ended in 27 minutes. That night, Olivia called her. They're deliberating. But unofficially, I think you're okay for now. For now. They won't revoke your license unless the hospital pushes. And right now, the hospital's afraid of a story. Monica sat by the window looking out into the night. A week ago, she was invisible. Just another overworked nurse. Now, people were watching. Waiting. On Monday, Angela, you published a short column online. No names. Just a story. A night nurse. A medication error. A hospital known for overwork. A pattern. By Tuesday, it had over 20,000 views. On Wednesday, the hospital released a generic statement. We are committed to safe, equitable care for all patients. By Thursday, 2 more nurses emailed Olivia. One wanted to file a formal complaint. The other just wanted to be heard. And by Friday, Monica made a decision. She emailed Angela. I'm ready to talk. On the record. The hospital board meeting was set for Friday morning. Janelle spent the entire night before unable to sleep, lying in bed with her eyes open, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun in slow circles. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Mr. Kessler's pale face, the way his chest had heaved under the strain of struggling to breathe. She heard his wife's panicked cries again and again. By the time her alarm buzzed at 6 a.m., she was already sitting up, dressed in jeans and a sweatshirt, nervously sipping on cold coffee. Her phone buzzed. A message from Naomi. You're strong, Jay. I believe in you. Don't let them break you. Janelle stared at it for a long time before responding with a single, thank you. The meeting wasn't being held in a courtroom, but it might as well have been. A large, sterile conference room on the 10th floor of the hospital had been converted for the occasion. Janelle sat at one end of a long table, flanked by her union representative and a hospital-appointed attorney. Across from her sat 4 members of the hospital board, 1 representative from HR, and the head of nursing, Marcy Fulton. They had a folder in front of them with her name on it. A thick folder. Marcy started. Her voice was clipped, neutral. We're here to discuss the events of September 10th involving the misadministration of medication to patient Albert Kessler. She looked directly at Janelle. Before we begin reviewing the official documentation, do you have anything you want to say? Janelle cleared her throat. I want to say that I never meant to harm anyone. I've always taken pride in being careful. I checked the chart. I checked the meds. I thought I had done everything right. But something went wrong. And I want to understand it as much as you do. The board members flipped open the folder simultaneously and the sound echoed like a gavel hitting wood. One of them, a man with square glasses and thinning hair, began reading through the log of her actions on the electronic medication record. You signed into the system at 7:41 a.m. You pulled the medication for Mr. Kessler at 7:43 a.m. The medication administered was a Miodaron, correct? Janelle nodded. Yes. Do you know what was prescribed? Losartan, she said. Her stomach turned. Then how did a Miodaron get administered? She hesitated. I must have picked up the wrong tray. But I don't know how. I remember scanning it. It beeped normally. I didn't get a mismatch alert. The man frowned. You're suggesting a system malfunction? No, I'm suggesting I don't know what I'm suggesting. Only that something doesn't make sense. They grilled her for 45 minutes. Every detail of her day. Every patient interaction. Her past evaluations. Her hours that week. Everything was fair game. And then came the final blow. Marcy leaned forward. There's something else. 2 weeks prior, you were late logging medications for Mr. Bernard, another cardiac patient. It was corrected later, but do you remember that? Janelle's mouth went dry. She nodded. That raises a question of pattern, said another board member. A possible issue with consistent adherence to protocol. Janelle felt her throat closing. Her union rep finally cut in. Let's not speculate based on isolated events. If anything, Ms. Thomas's record has been exemplary until now. The board murmured among themselves. We'll review everything and get back to you with a decision within the next few days. Janelle was dismissed. She walked out of that room feeling like her bones were made of water. Naomi was waiting outside and stood up the second she saw her. How did it go? Janelle shook her head. I don't know. They went to the parking lot and Janelle sat behind the wheel of her car, staring at her hands gripping the steering wheel. I've never felt so helpless, she said. They made me feel like I was dangerous. Like I'm a threat. You're not, Naomi said. You made a mistake. People make mistakes every day. But the way they come down on us, black women, especially like we're disposable, it's not right. Janelle looked out the window. I keep thinking about Mr. Kessler. About what if I caught it in time? What if I had double-checked one more time? Naomi didn't speak for a moment. Then she said, "Do you want to know what I think?" Janelle nodded. "I think you've been working double shifts for 3 weeks. I think you're one of the only nurses on this floor who actually takes time to talk to the patients. I think you made one error, and instead of asking why it happened, they're trying to pin it all on you." Tears welled up in Janelle's eyes, but she didn't let them fall. "I just want to keep helping people." "And you will," Naomi said. "One meeting doesn't get to take that away from you." That night, Janelle sat alone in her apartment, listening to the soft hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of the wall clock. She opened her laptop and logged into the hospital's secure system, searching through her own entries from that day. She pulled up the medication scan log. And there it was. Her scan at 7:43 a.m. was recorded. But so was another scan done seconds before under her name from a nearby device. She frowned. That couldn't be right. Her eyes narrowed. What if someone had used her login? Her stomach twisted. She opened a new browser tab and began to dig. Something wasn't right, and she was going to find out what. She sat in the car with the engine off, her phone trembling in her hands. Her fingers hovered above the screen, then tapped out the number she hadn't used in nearly a year. "Marcia Lewis, Compliance Department," came the voice on the other end. "It's Janelle Ford," she said quietly. "I need to talk to someone. Off the record." There was a pause. Then, "Come by after hours. Back entrance. Use your badge." The line went dead. Janelle stared out at the cracked pavement of the hospital's parking lot. Her stomach was tight, her mouth dry. But somewhere in her gut, beneath the fear, was a thread of something sharper. Anger. Not wild or reckless, cold. Controlled. She waited until the main lobby had cleared and slipped through the back access corridor to the 3rd floor. No lights. Just the hum of emergency power and the scent of old disinfectant. Marcia was already there, short, no-nonsense, with tight gray curls and eyes that missed nothing. "You've got 10 minutes, she said. Janelle sat. "I think someone accessed the medication system under my name," she said. "There's no way I gave Mr. Renner that med. I triple-check every time." "You have proof?" Marcia asked. "No. Not yet. But I need to see the audit logs. Every medication entry under my profile. I need timestamps, device IDs, everything." Marcia folded her arms. "That's highly restricted." Janelle leaned forward. "I'm not asking to protect myself. I'm asking because I think there's something going on. Maybe bigger than just me." That made Marcia pause. "Bigger?" Janelle hesitated. "You remember Andrea Walker? ICU nurse." Marcia's eyes narrowed. "She got fired last spring. They said she made a dosage error, remember? But she swore she didn't. Said she was being watched." "That's gossip." Janelle shook her head. "Not gossip if there's a pattern. I've worked here 5 years. There's a quiet way they do it. One mistake, and if you're black or Latina or speak up too much, you're out." Marcia looked at her long and hard. Then she stood. "Wait here." 15 minutes passed. Janelle felt every second drag across her skin. Her leg bounced. Her breath was shallow. Marcia returned with a flash drive. "You didn't get this from me." Janelle took it, her hands shaking. "Thank you." Marcia's voice was low. "If something's wrong, you'd better be damn sure before you come forward. Because they won't just take your job. They'll erase your name." Janelle didn't go home. She drove across town to her brother Darren's place, buzzed his apartment, and climbed the stairs with trembling legs. He opened the door in sweatpants and a hoodie, squinting. "Janelle? It's almost midnight. I need your help." He let her in without another word. Darren worked in IT for a tech company downtown. He wasn't a hacker, but he knew enough to parse logs and system trails. She handed him the flash drive. "I need to see everything. Every medication entry made under my account for the last 2 weeks." He inserted the drive, typing commands, his brow furrowing as he navigated the files. 10 minutes later, he leaned back. "There's a remote login from 3 nights ago. Not from your usual workstation." Janelle's heart leapt. "Where from?" He pointed at the metadata. "This device ID's from the nurse's station in East Wing." "You ever worked there?" "Never. That's palliative care. I haven't stepped foot in that wing in months. Someone logged in under your name. And look at this, they accessed Mr. Renner's file right after." Janelle stared at the screen. It was real. She'd been set up. "Can you trace who was on that terminal?" Darren nodded slowly. "Not easily. The log only shows your user ID. But maybe security footage? Badge access logs?" She stood. "I'll get them." Darren looked up at her. Janelle, who would do this to you? She didn't answer. But one name had already formed like smoke in her mind. Dr. Carmen Delaney was sipping her coffee in the break room the next morning when Janelle entered. The doctor looked up with polite surprise. Back already? I need to speak to you. Delaney smiled faintly, eyes flicking toward the door. Everything all right? Janelle's voice was even. You vouched for me after the incident. You were kind. But I need to ask, who else had access to the med station that night? Delaney's face didn't change. That's confidential. I'm being investigated, Janelle said. My license, my career, my name all on the line. Someone used my login to change that patient's meds. Delaney set her coffee down. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she sighed. There was someone else. An agency nurse. Temporary. Anna Reese. She worked a double that night. But I didn't mention her because she wasn't scheduled on your floor. Did she have access to the terminal? Technically? No. But those terminals aren't always locked. And agency nurses often float. Janelle's jaw tightened. Can I speak to her? Delaney shook her head. She finished her contract 2 days ago. Gone. Do you have a file? Delaney hesitated. Then opened her drawer, pulled out a manila envelope and handed it to Janelle. Inside was a copy of the agency assignment. But as Janelle read it, something didn't sit right. There was no license number. No contact number. Just a name and a P.O. box. What kind of agency doesn't list a phone number? Delaney looked uneasy. I didn't hire her personally. It was routed through HR. Janelle stood up. Thank you. Back in her car, Janelle stared at the folder in her lap. Something was very wrong. This Anna Reese wasn't real. Or if she was, she'd been hired to do one thing: sabotage. And now she was gone. Janelle took a deep breath and called Darren again. I need to trace a name. See if it's real. He sighed. You owe me dinner. I'll cook. He chuckled. All right. Give me the name. She read it out. He ran a search. A minute later, he said, this name doesn't show up in the state nursing registry. No license. Nothing. Her stomach dropped. You think this was a plant? He asked. She nodded even though he couldn't see her. Yes. A long pause. Janelle, this goes deep. I know. He exhaled. You need a lawyer. Janelle's next stop was the nursing agency listed on the fake assignment sheet. It was a brick building on the edge of downtown with a sun-faded logo above the door that read Bright Care Staffing Solutions. The place looked half abandoned. She pushed open the door. A bell jingled. A woman at the front desk looked up, startled. Can I help you? She asked. I'm looking for information on a nurse who worked a recent contract through your agency. Anna Reese. The woman blinked. I'm sorry, who? Janelle pulled out the manila envelope and slid it across the counter. She was listed under this contract. Midwood General. Night shift. ICU rotation. The receptionist frowned and scanned the page. We don't have an Anna Reese in our system, she said. And this header, this isn't our current paperwork. This is outdated branding. We haven't used this form in over a year. Janelle's fingers curled into fists. So this wasn't processed for you? No, ma'am, the woman said firmly. I'd remember. Especially someone working in critical care. Janelle stared at the sheet again, heart thudding. The form was a forgery. Someone had created a fake assignment with a fake nurse and slipped her into the system under the radar. She left the agency building in a daze, the city suddenly too loud, too fast. The puzzle pieces were there. But who was behind it? And why her? She drove back to the hospital, bypassed the main entrance, and walked directly to HR. The director, Ms. Gibbons, wasn't expecting her. I really need you to look into the paperwork for the agency nurse listed here, Janelle said, placing the forged document on her desk. Because Bright Care says this isn't theirs. Gibbons frowned. She was a tall, sharp woman in her 50s, with a permanent frown line and a wary tone. Where did you get this? From Dr. Delaney. Gibbons narrowed her eyes. That's highly irregular. Janelle didn't blink. So is a nurse with no license number administering meds under my login. There was a pause. Then Gibbons turned to her computer, typing rapidly. A few minutes passed in silence. I don't see a contract for this nurse, she finally said. No payment records. No digital footprint. If she was here, she was off book. Can I see who approved her assignment? Gibbons clicked again. According to this, the assignment was signed off by Dr. Delaney. Janelle swallowed hard. Isn't that against protocol? It is, Gibbons said coldly. No single physician can authorize an agency nurse. It has to go through us. Then how was she allowed on the floor? Gibbons stood. I'll be elevating this to our legal department. Will they contact the state board? Gibbons raised an eyebrow. That depends. On what? on whether this was a mistake or something else. That night, Janelle sat at her tiny kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a cold cup of tea. Her apartment was quiet, too quiet. Even the hum of the fridge seemed accusatory. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Darren. Trace the device ID. That terminal was last used by someone who badged in at 10:43 p.m. Guess who? Attached was a photo, a still from security footage. Janelle's breath caught. Dr. Delaney. In the East Wing. Alone. She stared at the image. It was grainy but clear enough. The timestamp matched the night of the incident. Janelle's mind reeled. Delaney had been the one to recommend the ICU protocol. She'd vouched for her after the error. She'd handed her the forged paperwork. She tried to seem supportive while slowly twisting the knife. The next morning, Janelle sat across from her hospital's internal investigator, a square-jawed man in a Navy suit named Mr. Halvorsen. I've brought everything, she said. Audit logs, security footage, testimony from Brightcare, and forged documents implicating Dr. Delaney. Halvorsen sifted through the papers, eyes narrowing. This is serious, he said finally. I know. Why would a senior physician risk her career to frame you? Janelle hesitated. I think she saw me as a threat. I've filed complaints. I've challenged decisions. And maybe she thought I was too confident for a nurse like me. He looked at her. You mean because you're black? She met his gaze. I mean exactly that. He didn't flinch. I'll initiate a formal inquiry. You'll be informed of the process. Will I be reinstated in the meantime? That's not my call. Janelle clenched her hands. So I just wait? I'd advise getting a lawyer, he said gently. This isn't over. The hospital's inquiry dragged on for 3 weeks. Janelle spent her days fielding calls from her union, sitting through tense interviews and watching as online forums debated her character. Local blogs hinted at the reckless nurse whose error had nearly killed a respected white businessman. No one mentioned the forged login, the fake nurse, or Delaney. Until the whistleblower article dropped. Darren had sent the documents to a friend at the Baltimore Free Tribune, an independent paper known for digging up institutional misconduct. The article was thorough. It told everything, the logs, the video, the forgery. It didn't use Janelle's name. But people knew. Her phone exploded. Some messages were supportive. Others weren't. Lying nurses like you should lose your license. Making it about race again. Typical. He could have died. You're disgusting. She read each one like a stone thrown through her window. Finally, a letter arrived. The hospital board had reviewed the evidence and cleared her of wrongdoing. Dr. Delaney had been placed on administrative leave pending further investigation. But there was no apology. No press release. No retraction from the media. Janelle was simply told she could return to work or resign quietly, and the board would ensure her record remained unblemished. She stared at the letter, disgust rising in her throat. This was the cost of survival in a system not built for her. After the board's letter arrived, Janelle returned to Midwood General with a mixture of relief and anger. The hospital corridors, once familiar and safe, now felt like battlegrounds. Whispers followed her, nurses avoided eye contact, doctors barely nodded. Some patients expressed doubt. The weight of suspicion was heavier than any physical exhaustion she'd ever felt. Her first day back was a blur. She walked to her assigned ICU station, heart pounding with every step. The machines beeped around her, indifferent to the human drama unfolding in the room. She checked her supplies, donned gloves, and approached her first patient, Mr. Harold Whitman, the elderly businessman whose life had been endangered by the medication error. He looked frail but stable, resting in his hospital bed with a soft hum of monitors. Their eyes met briefly. Ms. Carter, he whispered, his voice raspy. Janelle swallowed. Mr. Whitman, I'm here. I'm so sorry for what happened. He gave a faint nod, then closed his eyes. The incident was behind the scenes now, but the scars remained on him, on Janelle, and on the hospital's reputation. Weeks passed, and the investigation against Dr. Delaney unfolded in slow, cold bureaucracy. Janelle watched from the sidelines as the system she trusted revealed its cracks. Delaney's administrative leave stretched into months, with no formal charges brought forward. Yet, Janelle refused to be silenced. She began attending community meetings about healthcare inequity and racial bias in medicine. She shared her story openly, not as a victim but as a witness to a flawed system that still needed healing. Her voice found strength in solidarity. One evening, she spoke at a local hospital forum packed with staff, patients, and activists. This wasn't just a medication error, she said firmly. It was an act born out of fear and prejudice. I was made a scapegoat because I'm a black nurse, because I dared to stand up, because I was different. Her words resonated through the hall. Some clapped. Others nodded. A few averted their eyes. But for the first time in months, Janelle felt seen. Her personal life, however, was strained. Her family worried about her safety and emotional well-being. Her mother urged her to leave Baltimore, find a fresh start somewhere new. But Janelle knew this fight was hers to finish. She re-enrolled in her nursing program to pursue her advanced degree. She wanted to build a career that couldn't be undermined by lies or hate. And slowly, day by day, Janelle rebuilt her life, brick by brick, patient by patient, breath by breath. Months later, she received a call from a reporter at the Baltimore Free Tribune. "Ms. Carter, we're running a feature on racial discrimination in healthcare. Would you consider being interviewed?" Janelle hesitated, but then she smiled softly. "Yes," she said. "It's time to tell the truth."